They say the eyes are the window to the soul, but few ask who is looking through that window. Some believe eye color is nothing more than biology, a random gift from our ancestors. But in the ancient world, in the sacred halls of the Shaolin temple, this was never the full story. In our tradition, the way you see the world is the way you shape it. Your vision does not only flow outward, it bends inward, folding reality back toward the self. This is where true mastery begins. Through the eye we meet the mind. Through the mind we meet the path. Today I will guide you through a deeper understanding of your eye color, not as a trait, but as a symbol, a spiritual mirror. We will explore what brown eyes reveal about grounding and discipline, why blue eyes speak of clarity and silence, and how green and gray carry energies known to only a few. These colors are not just appearances, they are teachings, and their meanings may change how you walk through life. You will learn how Shaolin principles like stillness, Wu Wei, and inner alchemy connect to the very way you perceive, and I will share lesser-known insights from our lineage, truths hidden in silence, passed from master to disciple. Stay with me until the end. There is something here for your soul, not just your sight. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. I am Shi Heng Yi. If you walk this path with us, subscribe to the channel. Your journey has already begun. There is strength in stillness, but few have the patience to discover it. Those with brown eyes carry the energy of earth, a silent force beneath our feet that never rushes, never breaks, and never asks for praise. In Shaolin philosophy, earth is not just soil or stone, it is the foundation of the way. It holds the weight of mountains without complaint. It teaches us to endure, to remain present, to commit. The grounded warrior is not loud. Their power lies in consistency, in waking early, in repeating the same form for years without boredom. This is not weakness, it is a sacred discipline. Brown-eyed souls are often drawn into lives of duty, care, and stability. These are noble paths, but they come with a hidden challenge: to not lose the spirit in the routine, to not forget the flame while tending to the wood. Shaolin monks practice the same movement 1,000 times, not to perfect the body, but to calm the mind. Through repetition we enter the timeless. The brown-eyed path is like this, a steady drumbeat that can either numb the senses or awaken profound awareness. If your path is filled with responsibility, do not wish it away. The way does not always look like escape. Often it is found in the ordinary. The act of washing a bowl, sweeping a floor, walking the same trail. Brown symbolizes this devotion. A life lived close to the ground, but touched by heaven in the quiet moments. The test is not how much you can do, but how deeply you can be in what you do. Movement without distraction, stillness within the motion. This is the earth's gift, and this is the warrior's way. There is a kind of seeing that does not interfere, a gaze that rests not on the surface but beneath it. Blue carries the energy of the open sky. It stretches beyond form and boundary, inviting clarity and stillness. In the Shaolin tradition, this vastness is called Qingjing, a state where the mind becomes like still water. Nothing stirs it, nothing clouds it. In this space, wisdom begins to appear. Those with blue eyes often reflect this quality, not just in appearance, but in the quiet way they observe. They are drawn to silence, not to escape the world, but to understand it. In them lives the inner witness, the one who sees without grasping, who listens without rushing to speak. But this path is not without its tests. The challenge of the mindful observer is knowing when presence becomes passivity. Too much detachment, and we lose the warmth of the world. Too much silence, and we may forget to sing. Shaolin teachings remind us, true clarity is not cold. It is luminous, still but alive. The blue-eyed journey is one of discernment, to know when to step forward and when to let things pass, when to hold and when to release. The sky does not chase the bird. It makes space for the flight. Likewise, the disciplined mind does not chase after every thought or reaction. It watches, it breathes, and from this stillness, it chooses wisely. This is a path of deep mastery, cultivating awareness so pure that even chaos cannot disturb it, not by hiding from life, but by becoming fully awake within it. Blue reminds us to truly see is not to control, it is to be present enough that nothing needs to be controlled at all. Some energies do not arrive all at once. They unfold softly, patiently, like leaves opening to the sun. Green is the color of living movement. It speaks of growth, not forced by will, but guided by rhythm. In Shaolin teachings, this reflects the path of transformation. the ability to shift without losing center, to bend without breaking. Those with green eyes often carry the spirit of the alchemist, not one who changes metal into gold, but one who changes experience into wisdom, pain into purpose, emotion into clarity. This is not a loud process. It is quiet, internal, and sacred. Emotion, when untrained, pulls the mind in many directions, but when balanced with intention, it becomes a powerful tool of insight. Green, in this way, reminds us of nature, wild yet patterned, ever-changing yet steady in its unfolding. Shaolin wisdom does not fear change. It teaches that change is the gateman, through which all mastery must pass. Those who resist it remain stuck. Those who embrace it with discipline and awareness find new depth within themselves. The green-eyed path demands fluid strength, to feel deeply without drowning, to adapt quickly without losing one's roots. It is the art of becoming new again and again without forgetting who you truly are. This transformation is not about escape. It is about returning to the moment, again and again, more refined each time. Like the monk who sharpens his awareness with each breath, the green path sharpens the soul through cycles of letting go and returning. Growth is not always visible from the outside, but inside, layer by layer, something sacred begins to take form. This is the path of the inner alchemist, quiet, steady, unshakably alive. Some truths do not shine, they absorb. Some strengths do not announce themselves, they wait. Gray is the color of mist, of quiet stone, of skies that hold both light and shadow. It symbolizes neutrality, not indecision, but balance. In the Shaolin path, this is the mark of one who has stepped beyond the need to prove or to resist, one who has found stillness in the center of movement. Gray reflects the principle of emptiness or Kong, Kuan. In Buddhism, emptiness is not nothingness. It is spaciousness, a state where the mind is free from clinging, where potential can arise without distortion. Just as a bowl must be empty to hold tea, the self must be clear to hold wisdom. Those with gray eyes often carry this mystery. Their presence is subtle, their silence meaningful. They do not seek the spotlight, but when they speak, it echoes. In them lies the teaching of Wu Wei, non-forcing, non-striving, letting things unfold with precision, not pressure. This is not passivity, it is mastery of timing, the ability to act without friction, to move without leaving ripples, like a breeze that shifts a mountain's age over centuries. In the gray-eyed path, we learn that strength is not always about impact. It can be hidden beneath restraint, revealed only when needed. To live this way is to trust the rhythm of life, to know when to hold back, when to vanish, and when to strike with full presence. Shaolin warriors do not only train the body, they train the mind to dissolve tension, to become formless, like water or wind. Gray reminds us power that hides is not weak, it is simply patient. In stillness, depth. In emptiness, potential. In silence, the full echo of the way. The body speaks, even in silence. In the shape of the hands, the pace of the breath, the light within the eyes, something deeper reveals itself. In Eastern teachings, especially within Buddhist and Taoist traditions, the body is not separate from the path. It is a reflection, a map drawn by the quiet hand of karma, not punishment, not reward, but a pattern carried forward, asking to be seen. Eye color, in this sense, becomes more than a detail of biology. It becomes a metaphor for where the soul begins in this life. A starting point, not a definition. A doorway, not a wall. Brown may point to steadiness and service. Blue to stillness and insight. Green to growth and movement. Gray to depth and hidden wisdom. These colors are not limits but signals, clues to the work one must do, the balance one must find. Shaolin wisdom teaches that karma is not fate. It is motion. What arises can pass. What has shaped us can be reshaped. The eye, as a symbol, reminds us of perception. The way we see determines the path we walk. To observe our traits, even physical ones, is not vanity. It is awareness. The monk studies himself not to admire but to understand. To uncover what drives him, what traps him, what frees him. The eye color you were born with may reflect a certain energy, a certain resonance. But mastery comes when you no longer act from the surface, when you begin to choose not based on tendency, but based on truth. This is the gate. To look into the mirror without fear. To see your karma not as a sentence, but as a message. One that calls you inward, forward, and beyond. A name is not the self. A face is not the self, and neither is the color of your eyes. In Shaolin teaching, the path to mastery begins with non-attachment not only to possessions or people, but to identity itself. Form is fleeting. The body changes, the voice fades, the eyes age. What remains is the awareness beneath all of it. Eye color may carry meaning. It may reflect a tendency, a symbol, a certain kind of energy. But it is not who you are. It is only one layer in a great unfolding, a doorway, not the destination. The ancient masters remind us true nature cannot be seen, it cannot be touched. It has no shape, no name, no history. It is the space before thought, the stillness before breath, the watcher behind the eyes. To attach to form is to confuse the costume with the actor. The discipline of Shaolin is not about appearance, it is about emptiness. Not emptiness as lack, but as fullness without boundary. When the mind lets go of labels, something deeper begins to rise, a peace that does not depend on what the mirror shows. The world may speak in categories, light eyes, dark eyes, this trait, that strength, but the way speaks in silence. It asks, who is seeing through those eyes? This is not rejection of the body, but freedom from illusion. When you know that you are not your eye color, not your role, not your past, you begin to move with less fear and more truth. Awareness has no color. It simply sees. And when you rest in that seeing, everything changes. Not because you have become someone else, but because you have remembered who you were all along. Sight begins not in the eye, but in the mind. The eye is a tool, sensitive, precise, but limited. It receives light, shape, and motion. But it is the mind that gives meaning. The mind that selects, interprets, judges, or lets be. In Shaolin tradition, this understanding is central. We do not train the eye to see more. We train the mind to see clearly. A distracted mind sees only fragments. It reacts, it assumes, it projects past experience onto the present moment. But a still mind sees what is truly there, without distortion. This is the purpose of practice, not to collect more information, but to remove what clouds the view. Through sitting meditation, through breathwork, through moving forms, repeated in silence, Shaolin monks learn to unhook the mind from noise. When this discipline matures, a different kind of seeing opens. One that is not just with the eyes, but with presence itself. This kind of sight is subtle. It does not rush, it does not chase. It notices the space between things, the feeling behind words, the tension in a breath, and in this awareness, decisions become simpler, movement becomes effortless, conflict begins to dissolve. To look only with the eyes is to see the surface. To look with the mind is to see depth. But to look with presence, empty, calm, awake, is to see with wisdom. Shaolin does not aim for sharper senses, but for a cleaner mirror. The more still the mind, the more clearly it reflects the world, and through that clarity, the path appears, not invented but revealed. The true sight is not what enters the eye, but what leaves the mind untouched. This is the heart of mindfulness. This is the beginning of freedom. The outer world is noisy, the inner world even more so. But beyond that noise, there is a quiet place, a place where true vision begins. Shaolin practice teaches that what you see outside depends on how clearly you see inside, not through effort or analysis, but through presence. To cleanse the inner sight, the mind must return to its natural rhythm, calm, open, and aware. Each morning before the sun rises fully, monks begin with stillness. Seated in silence, eyes relaxed, attention resting on the breath. Inhale, exhale, nothing to fix, nothing to chase. This is not escape, it is alignment, a reminder that clarity begins in the breath. Later in the day, walking becomes a practice. Not walking to arrive, but walking to notice. Step by step, eyes open, but thoughts quiet. The world is seen, not filtered through stories or judgment. Just trees, just wind, just life unfolding. Walking meditation teaches the mind to be here, not pulled forward by plans, not dragged back by memory. There is also the gaze practice, softening the eyes, not to stare, but to receive. A person, a cup, a flame. Let the eyes see without naming. Let the mind stop labeling. In this space, something deeper begins to look through you. These practices are simple but powerful. They do not depend on eye color, personality, or background. They only ask for consistency and sincerity. Over time, they clear the fog from the mirror. They reveal the patterns of thought that distort perception. They open the inner vision, the one that sees without fear, without grasping. To train the inner eye is to walk the way with awareness, not with sharper sight, but with a quieter mind, not to see more, but to see truly, and in that truth to live fully. Every day the world enters through the eyes, shapes, colors, gestures, glances, but something else passes through as well. Your story, your history, your habits of thought. What you see is never just the object, it is also the mind that receives it. Shaolin wisdom teaches that the eye can become either a gate or a wall. A gate allows light, truth, understanding to flow. A wall blocks, distorts, defends. The difference lies not in the eye itself but in the awareness behind it. Many walk through life seeing only what confirms their beliefs. Their vision becomes narrow, reactive, shaped by judgment or fear. They do not see reality. They see their version of it over and over again. This is the wall. It may protect, but it also imprisons. To open the gate is to pause and ask, what am I choosing to see? Am I looking through stillness or through resistance, through presence or through projection? In the Shaolin path, this question is not philosophical, it is a daily practice. To become aware of the act of seeing, to recognize that behind every glance is a choice, to react or to receive, to grasp or to let be. This is where self-mastery begins, not in force, but in awareness. When you catch yourself judging, assuming, closing down, you have already begun the work. You have begun to see yourself seeing. The eye does not need to change color. The world does not need to change form. But the one who looks can become quieter, deeper, more open. Let the eyes become a gate. Let them carry in not only the world, but the truth beyond appearances. In this way, even an ordinary moment becomes part of the way, and nothing is ever the same again. The color of your eyes may be the first thing others notice, but it is not the most important thing you carry. In the teachings of Shaolin, every outer trait is a reflection, a reminder to look inward. Brown, blue, green, gray, these are symbols, not definitions. They point toward the inner part, where real mastery lives. The eyes are not just for seeing the world. They reveal how you relate to it, with clarity or confusion, with stillness or reaction, with presence or distraction. And when you begin to notice that difference, something shifts, not outside but within. Let this awareness become part of your daily life. In conversation, in still moments, in your quiet walk to work or your time alone, pause and ask yourself, what am I truly seeing? And more deeply, who is the one seeing? You do not need to change your appearance to walk the way. You only need to open the gate of attention, to soften the mind, still the breath, and return to what is already whole. Thank you for walking this path with us. If the teachings here spoke to something inside you, we invite you to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. There is much more to share, and the journey is always better when walked together. May your eyes stay open and your heart even more so. Peace.